Shalom. I'm Rabbi Eric Solomon, the rabbi of Beth Meyer Synagogue in Raleigh, North Carolina, a conservative congregation, and I'm happy to participate in answering these questions asked. I'm going to begin by gathering the first few questions together. The first few questions asked, what current rabbinical professional development programs have I participated in? What were the sponsoring organizations? Why did I choose? And what did I learn and how to integrate these programs? So I'm going to cover them all in one fell swoop. I've participated in numerous ones. I've been very blessed over the past few years. Let me start with most recently. Currently, I'm participating in the RLI Rabbinic Leadership Initiative of the Shalom Hartman Institute in Jerusalem. It's a fantastic opportunity to learn and study with excellent colleagues together first of all, across the country, really across the world, but also the teachers and faculty at the Hartman Institute are just fantastic and incredible Torah teaching, and that requires time in Israel, which has been wonderful, as well as webinars here back home through the internet. And I've used really much of the teaching and learning has really informed me and helped me to bring new Torah ideas, new perspectives in the teaching I do in my congregation. The other programs I've done most recently include the Institute for Jewish Spirituality, IJS, which I did a few years ago as an 18-month program involving retreats. I was part of the 4th rabbinic cohort, and it also was something I was already interested in, but even just brought me much, much farther. Again, fantastic faculty, tremendous teachers who still have a deep influence on me, as well as a great chevra of other rabbis really spiritually seeking to bring God and God's presence into their lives and really, for themselves, for me, and a chance for me to experience that. And that, of course, overflows into the work I'm blessed to do in my congregation. That was the Institute for Jewish Spirituality, focusing on yoga, meditation, Hasidic text learning. In fact, still to this day, I still do the text learning on a weekly basis with my chavruta, who I met through the IJS program a couple years ago. So I did that. I also went on the YRD, the Young Rabbis Delegation, to Ghana with the American Jewish World Service in 2012 summer. That was also remarkable and life-changing. I had, again, a great chevra of rabbis cross-denomination throughout the country. We spent about 2 weeks in Ghana doing service at challenging heights and learning about child slavery, child trafficking throughout the world, but particularly in Africa. And just the relationship with AWS, with the staff, with Ruth Messenger, of course. I came back, gave numerous sermons. I still talk about it. It's affected my worldview, how I look at poverty, how I look at what the United States possibly can do potentially to help, at times how our country hurts. Just make me think globally at my Jewish values, how they play out on the global stage and how they should play out on the calls for social justice. I was incredibly grateful for that in 2012. I also participated in the RMI, Rabbinic Management Institute of the American Jewish University. This is around 2011, 2012 also. We received a certificate from that. That was focusing on the professional side of the rabbinate, the executive side of the rabbinate. Fundraising, strategic planning, budgeting, issues of vision, dealing with kind of the aspects of interpersonal communication. It's kind of the executive function, you may call the CEO aspect of the rabbinate, and it also is a phenomenal experience. It's not, I'm a passionate God seeker, and I'm a passionate Torah teacher and learner, and I love to daven. But so these areas are areas I knew I needed more work in. And so again, a great group of colleagues across the country coming together, those primarily conservative movement colleagues, and a chance to just learn with great teachers at the AJU who have a real expertise in this, and I gained a lot from that. And last but not least, I want to mention my Marshall T. Meyer Rabbinic Fellowship through Congregation B'nai Jeshurun in New York City. I was blessed and fortunate to be selected as a Marshall Meyer Fellow some 14 years ago approximately, and I was first served as a fellow, or basically assistant rabbi, at that congregation for a few years. And then subsequent to that, I've attended an alumni retreat every year in the spring, basically, for a few days with my teachers, my rabbis, as well as an opportunity to, with the chevra of this wonderful group. We daven together, we spend time together, we share our challenges, we work on certain subject matter. it has a huge influence on my rabbinate from the beginning and still to this day. B'nai Jeshurun as a congregation, and specifically my teachers, Rabbi Marcelo Bronstein and Rabbi Raleigh Matalon. So let me now move to the next question. How do these programs translate into work I do in a community? And what do I think of continuing rabbinic education? So let me say about how they translate. The truth is, each program has its impact on me. It's impossible. It's kind of like what Reb Zalman Schachter Shlomo used to say. The mind is like tofu. Whatever you soak it in, it brings in and it becomes part of it. And so too, I've been blessed to really nurse and kind of put my soul enmeshed in around both wonderful teachers from fantastic new perspectives, and also fantastic chevra of rabbis. And so being, for example, in IJS, where I could sit with, Sheila Peltz-Weinberg, or with Nancy Flam, or Jonathan Slater, Miriam Klotz, and a chance to really learn from these tremendous teachers of spirituality, real people who have devoted their lives towards God-centered living and God-centered practice, and to be in their presence and still be able to learn the Torah, it has raised and elevated. It's given me a well to keep going to my own spiritual life, to make sure as much as possible that I don't allow my own soul to ossify. I came into this work because I love seeking God, and I want to have an opportunity to have that people could help guide me with spiritual direction in that way. I could say the same thing with my work with B'nai Jeshurun. And then also, for example, with RMI right now, with RLI through the Hartman Institute, just a tremendous opportunity to learn and grow with fantastic teachers. I neglected to mention, of course, Rabbis Without Borders through Klal, which was a tremendous opportunity to learn. Rabbi Serbu, an old friend of mine who's doing phenomenal work of really bringing rabbinic teaching and thinking, particularly in the American context, of how we can really bring Judaism to push beyond the normal borders, to kind of reimagine, to be creative, to touch people outside the normal realms, to make sure Judaism is relevant to American Jews in particular. I just was deeply touched by it. I always loved learning from Erwin Kula and Brad as well, Hirschfeld. It was really a very important experience for me. So all of these translate for me. They all bring new Torah, new perspectives on Torah, and help me to grow, which really leads to why I do these. The truth is, there's two fundamental reasons, or a few fundamental reasons. First of all, as I said, I'm ambitious. I want to learn. I want to grow. I want to bring everything I can to my rabbinate. I want to maximize my God-given potential. So I want to have the ability to do everything I can. And I know that I have desires, I have inklings, but I need teachers. This is the classic Jewish teaching, Asela Harav. I need Rabbanim to help lead me to improve. So I am looking and seeking great Rabbanim to help teach me and help me to grow. And I use the word Rav kind of widely, not strictly only as Torah teacher of the Gemara, but also teachers who are experts in fundraising, for example. I want to learn the Torah of fundraising from the best available, so that I can bring that back to my shul and make my shul, I have great dreams for my shul, to make it the best it possibly can be. And that's only going to happen if I'm at the best that I can be. So that's number one. Number two is the chevra issue. I was in New York City for rabbinical school, also obviously some time in Jerusalem too. And then I worked first in New York City. But since then I've been in Raleigh, North Carolina, which me and my family, we love this community. We love our congregation. We've fallen in love with the South. It's been a real blessing in so many ways, in ways I didn't expect. However, it is more isolating. I have fewer colleagues in the area. It's not, even the colleagues I have here, we're just not physically that close to each other. To get together is not easy. And then with a small community close together, it's just not, we are collegial, of course, we have strong relationships. It's just not always easy to sit down with, let's say, my Reform colleague and discuss fundraising strategies, because there are many levels of confidence and we know all these similar people. So it's hard to do this together, at least not without a guide or mediator. So getting together with colleagues across the country with like interests in social justice, in spirituality, in text learning, it allows me to feel less isolated. It lets me to feel connected and feel like I'm part of a grander mission, that I'm with a whole group that are all pushing forward towards becoming greater, learning more Torah, coming closer to God, really, we're on this journey together, of course, aided by the internet today. And I just feel tremendously blessed. Just the presence of being with others that way, that alone is holy and very precious to me. Last question was, what are the main blocks or struggles what do I want to do next, and what are the struggles toward it? So I want to continue to grow in my social justice aspects of my rabbinate. There's a particular program called Sela, produced by Ben the Ark, that I've had my eye on for a while. I'm going to wait till I conclude, God willing, the RLI program through Hartman, and that's kind of what I'll think of next in terms of community action. We have some important action going down here in North Carolina with a recent group that I had a small part of helping build, but many of the lay leaders. It's called Carolina Jews for Justice, and I'm interested in seeing how I can continue to help nurture that myself, but also help the organization as we go forward. And I'm open to what comes up next. As long as God willing, I'm alive and breathing and have the blessing of being a rabbi. I want to keep growing, so I'm going to keep looking out and see what's out there, and of course, alumni programs like Rabbis Without Borders continue retreats, RLI with retreats, etc. Lastly, what really stops it's money and it's time. Those are the two things. My congregation, I feel very blessed, has really supported my growth. I think they see, first of all, the rabbi's happy when he gets these opportunities, but secondly, that as I grow, I bring things back to my shul and they grow, and they see that direct exchange, kind of growth. It's a sum positive for all of us. And they have been very supportive when even some of the costs of these programs have been quite significant. They have risen to the occasion to support me in my learning and my growth. I am incredibly grateful to them for that. So that's it. Thank you so much.